G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to DCS World 2.5 with Mags, and welcome back to the Sea Dragon campaign. Yes, once again we're in the SU-33, and today we're taking on Mission 3, which is called Swarm. So the current situation is as follows. After downing the Georgians' recon Antonov 26B in the last missions, the Georgians have been threatening retaliatory strikes against Task Force Sea Dragon. In Turkey, NATO forces appear to be stepping up the formation of logistics centres and supply lines in support of Georgia, and in eastern Georgia, NATO have begun deploying combat aircraft, mainly F-16s, in what they are calling a protective action. Intelligence reports that NATO have also been moving supplies and aircraft closer to our area of operations, but currently none have appeared inside our area yet. Our immediate threat is a force of small boats that have been detected on approach to Sea Dragon at high speed. Currently we have no idea who those boats belong to, but they are likely under the command of Georgian forces. As it stands, we have no idea on what their intentions are. They could be carrying small boat deployable torpedoes, explosives, or have the intent to board. Regardless, the attempt is likely a suicide mission, so extreme actions are to be expected. What we do know is that the Admiral Kuznetsov's weapons control computer has failed, along with the communication systems. She's currently unable to defend herself from an attack. As a result, our two-ship flight of SU-33s have been launched with orders to intercept and eliminate all of the small boat groups before they get to the Kuznetsov. Our loadout for this mission is 4 general-purpose Fab 500 M62 unguided bombs that will be dropped in pairs of 2 mounted to the fuselage, 4 S-25 OFM unguided rockets carrying a 190kg warhead in their launch tubes under the wings, and 2 R-73 infrared guided air-to-air missiles on the outer wings, just in case we encounter any airborne threats. Now, the small boats that we're targeting are travelling in 4 groups, each consisting of 4 boats. Now, each individual group is travelling with 2 boats to the lead and 2 boats to the rear, with a small gap in between. This means while it is possible to take out all 4 boats on a single weapons release, it is a precision shot with an unguided weapon, so it is likely going to take multiple passes to take down each group. And the boats themselves are not undefended. They're each armed with heavy machine guns, so approaching the boats is likely going to involve taking a little bit of fire. So at this point we've got eyes on the wakes of the 4 boat groups. They're just to our right. Time to issue an order to break with my wingman and have him start engaging the boats. Now he's going to engage the boat groups closest to us. I'm going to circle around and start striking at the boats on the far side.
Атакуй корабли.
So at this point we're fully split, and I'm just travelling the distance to the far side group, keeping an eye on them out of the right hand side of the cockpit. You can just see the trails from the wake in the water. And our wingman is making his run on the first target. I'm going to be going on the target on the far left, and we're going to do a Fab 500 drop. This will release 2 bombs, and we're going to be at relatively high speed at low altitude and well within machine gun range when we actually release. So we're currently at 850 kilometers an hour and accelerating, altitude 1,300 meters, dropping fast. You can see the bomb indicator up. I'm just waiting for the line for a release. Now, as this is an unguided bomb drop on a moving target, we have to estimate speed and the point of contact. And since it's a water drop, the bomb is not going to be as effective as if it was on land. And bombs away. And roll the aircraft to check for effect. Detonation, we're a little bit behind the lead boats, however we did take out the rear, so there are only 2 boats left in that group. So pick up a little bit of altitude here, and then we're going to go into a right hand bank, and I'm going to go for the group of boats, one in from the far side, and we are going to release as they are heading towards us. bringing the nose around to line up on target. And released a little bit too late there, and we took a slight splash of machine gun fire as we rolled through. And you can see the bomb drop was far too late. I should have released far earlier than that. So complete miss with the second drop. Now that little splash of damage we took, I didn't realise it at the time, but it actually done some fairly significant damage to the aircraft. I did notice the aircraft was yawing slightly more than it should have, and there is obviously a thrust drop in one of the engines, but that also disabled the afterburner. So I'm now only running on one fully functional engine. Performance is down in the right, and I only have afterburner on one side. So with the Fab 500 to release, we're now on the S25s. We're going to be releasing on the inner eastern group. Impact slightly to the rear of the group, but it wasn't a bad shot. Only one of the 4 boats actually survived the impact. We can see the trail coming out of the rear of the boat just there, and we're now taking machine gun fire from 2 groups. Roll the aircraft evasive and then break out, picking up enough altitude to pull us out of range of those guns. Now, the accuracy of DCS AI is somewhat amazing. All of those shots are trying to group on my right engine, and I did take another couple of rounds in there, and I have noticed a more significant power drop in that right engine. The aircraft is yawing right at a much harder rate, which I'm going to have to correct for in every single pass in this one. And as you can see here, only one bird lead. So at this point I'm circling around extremely wide, and I'm going for the very first group that I engage, which only has 2 boats left. One rocket should eliminate both of these boats and take that group out of the equation. And as you can see, we're just lining up on the boats ahead. Current airspeed 600 kilometers per hour, altitude 500 meters. We'll be punching 700 kilometers an hour or just over on release. First group eliminated. So at this point, just grabbing a little bit of altitude and having a look around, seeing if I can spot my wingman. As we eliminate each group of boats in the attack, the chances of either my wingman or myself fouling the other's attack run increases as we're trying to make our passes. So it's best to try and locate him, work out where he's at, what he's doing. He hasn't announced going in for a run yet, so he's still setting up. On radar, he appears to be heading in my direction at low altitude, just off to my left, so we should be passing him any second. And there we go, he's making his run in, and I do have visual on him at this point. He is just out to the left, and it looks like he's heading for either the middle or the far group of boats, so I'm going to turn in and head for the closest group and hit them next. And just taking my time to line up on target. Due to the engine issues I'm suffering at the moment, the aircraft is trying to constantly push the nose and therefore my aim off target. Current speed 640 kilometers an hour. We're down to 600 meters now. And our wingman has made his release. Lined up. I just want to get the indicator just ahead. Only 2 boats in this group, so one rocket should do this nicely. And impact. Roll the aircraft out, and unfortunately we didn't aim well enough. We got 1 boat, but 1 escaped. So we have 1 single boat operating out of that group, and we're down to 1 rocket remaining. And this is a problem because our wingman hasn't actually called in any kills at this point, which means we know there's one loose boat here, there's one loose boat in the next group, but the far group that our wingman has been attacking at this point still has all 4 boats intact. And we only have 1 rocket remaining to deal with this. Now that's not to say we can't finish the job here. The SU-33 is of course armed with the 30mm GSH-301 autocannon, but it only has 150 rounds of ammunition, which is perfectly fine for taking out those individual boats that we have remaining, but not exactly something I want to rely on to take out the entire group at the far end. So our wingman is beginning his next run, but we're already committed to ours. Lining up for the last rocket release, and I'm trying to lead a little bit ahead this time from where I have been. I need to make this one count. And we take a little bit of fire, rocket away. And it's a good release. 3 out of 4 boats destroyed, only 1 remaining. So we have 3 individual boats still making their way towards Kuznetsov. That's still more than I would like now that I'm down to cannon, but it's doable. And our wingman's made his attack, he's gone for guns, and rounds on target, so he has taken down 1 of the boats. That leaves us with 2. Now we've got no master caution lights at this time, but I am having some difficulty controlling the aircraft at this point, so damage is increasing. That last burst hits something important. The right engine is still hanging on, but it's likely on its last legs at this point. So just doing a nice long wide half circle to come in on the far remaining boat, pop these last 2, and we can put this bird back on the deck, and we better hurry up about it as well. At this point the boats are actually getting awfully close to the Kuznetsov and the rest of Task Force Sea Dragon, and we cannot let them get to the boats. The second they get to Kuznetsov, we fail. Lining up on target. Guns, guns, guns. And miss. We messed up the shot rather badly there, so we're going to have to circle around and come back. And fly by Kuznetsov so we can see exactly how close the boat is at this point. So we're going to wide circle back around, and I'm going to take the far boat from the front and then pop the second boat that we just missed on the return. Now as you can see, we've also switched over to the secondary gun sights at this point. I actually prefer these gun sights on the SU-33. They're very reminiscent of reflector sights from World War II aircraft. I'm very familiar with their usage, so... Now we're flaps down here just to give us a little bit more lift as we come in over the water. Hit the nose, take a small hit to the nose, and bullseye. And there was one. And at this point, begin turn in on the final boat. Now, we pretty much need to take this boat out on this pass. If we fail to hit it, it's probably going to get to Kuznetsov before we can actually line it up for another pass. Not to mention that I've already done 2 gun runs at this point. I'm probably not going to have the ammunition for any more than this one last pass. And target sighted, it's almost at Kuznetsov. Just trying to counter for the uneven levels of thrust between the 2 engines at the moment. The aircraft's pretty much trying to constantly drift right. As you can see, we are sliding slowly to the left. And shots fired. Guns, guns, guns. And impact. And not a moment too soon either. Those last shots that impacted the aircraft took out the right engine. This is going to make landing a little bit more interesting than normal, but mission is completed. So at this point, first step is to send out a radio call to our wingman, tell him to get his ass on the deck, and to get ourselves some clearance to actually come in for landing. We want to do a nice long wide circle to make sure we've got the best approach we can actually set up given our current situation, and bring it down to the deck, and hopefully put it down intact.
Звену. Возврат на базу.
Второй. Подтверждаю. Второй.
109. Возврат.
109. Следуйте курсом 8-0. Удаление 1-7. Давление 752,70. Посадочный 1-1. Занимайте высоту круга. 1-0-9. Работайте с посадкой.
Okay, so that combination of radio messages, we ordered our wingman to immediately RTB, so he is on approach to the carrier. He likely already was. And we just informed the carrier that we're inbound for landing, and we requested our landing. Now, we didn't get clearance straight away. This is because our wingman's coming in for landing first. Normally, you would want to put the damaged aircraft down first, but I would rather get the wingman out of the area because I'm going to have to do a fairly wide turn before I come in for landing anyway. Plenty of time for him to clear the airspace. And so, after setting ourselves up at the rear of Kuznetsov, it's time to put this thing down as best as we can, with only one engine running and shot full of holes. Anyways, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you very much for watching. As always, check the video description down below for links to my Patreon and all of my social media and my Twitch account if you would like to follow me there. And, of course, remember to click that like button, subscribe and share if you would like to see more, and until next time, take care.